This is a great time of year. Happy Saturday. Thank you for joining me. This is Julie Bean, and I'm here live on this Saturday morning after Halloween. So I must admit, I'm going a little bit slow this morning. We had a wonderful Halloween filled with, of course, lots of candy and staying up late. So I am slowly going, slowly waking up here. So I hope everyone else had a wonderful Halloween, and now I am ready to actually take down the Halloween decorations, keep up the fall ones, and just have a nice calm period here as we lead up to Thanksgiving. So it's just such a fun time of year. Hello, Angela from Washington. That is my home state. I love Washington. I grew up in the Kirkland area, so on the west side of, or not the west side of the Puget Sound, but in the Puget Sound area of Washington State. Hello, Monique. Hello, Beading Cartoons. Yes, our Saturday morning cartoons. And Monica, hello. Connie, hello from Minnesota. Oh, thank you. We talked, I think it was in the last show, do I ever wear the jewelry that we make here? And I usually always wear the earrings. I think I said that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to wear the necklace today. So I just have a little simple black top. And then we actually did this as a bracelet. And then I converted it into a necklace. Hello, PJ and Linda and Jan and Kat and Michelle. Good morning. And Christy. Good morning, guys. And we do have our Michelle here from Art Beads helping us this morning in the background as well. So Michelle, I hope you had a wonderful Halloween as well. She's gonna help answer questions, provide links, and we're gonna do a giveaway too that she's gonna help with. Hello, Tina and Connie and Jane. Hello, guys, and Christy. Hello, Tracy. Good November 1st to you as well. I'm actually really happy it's November. I love this time of year. So I don't know, I woke up excited that it's November. Oh my goodness, Linda, good morning. And Gina from Northern California, hello, PJ. Okay guys, so today is a little bit of a different class. Usually we do a project, but we've had a lot of questions come up in the last several shows just about different kind of basic, but also beyond basic beading things. So I just wanted to do like a fundamentals of jewelry making, but then kick it up a notch a little bit too. So we're gonna review some of the basics, like wrapped wire loops and crimping, but we're also gonna cover wire guards and crimp bead covers. We're gonna do how to cut memory wire, but we're also gonna do memory wire ends, which is something we don't normally do. And then we're gonna do, like that beaded little loop I do for the finishing of your, your lobster clasps. And then I want to show some size comparisons too. Like I pulled a couple of the bead along lobster clasps in the size small and medium because I was having a hard time figuring out what they looked like size-wise. So I'm going to do a size comparison here. I have some seed bead size comparisons. And then I want to show how to add chain to your jewelry design as well. 2 different ways that you can connect. So like if you have a necklace like this, but let's say you wanted the beadwork to go down here, you only wanted to do beadwork to here, and then you wanted to do chain, how would you add that chain? And I've got 2 different methods for that. So this is kind of the fundamentals of jewelry making and beyond. So great for beginners, but also great for people who have already kind of mastered how to crimp a crimp tube, but they want to learn about the thread and wire protectors, or they want to see that beaded loop I do, things like that. So it'll be kind of fun to do that. Feel free to ask questions. And of course, this will be archived and saved. Yeah, lots of topics. It's kind of going to be like a jumping around to a lot of different things versus one project today. But hopefully it's a really good resource, and hopefully everyone will come away with something new. If you're new to beading and new to jewelry making, you might come away with a lot of new things. And then if you are an experienced beader, hopefully there's something in here that you will find that, oh, I didn't know how to do that, or that's a different way of doing it. So I think that'll be good. Oh, Ilka, hello, and Ruby. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip my camera down because there is a lot to cover. I also have a couple different tools I don't normally use, so I just want to show that variety as well. As always, these videos are saved. You can always go back and rewatch them. They'll become available just shortly after we say goodbye today. Hello, Sandy and Susanna. And then there's that heart icon, the share arrow, and then the shopping bag, which is the resource guide. So you'll see all the tools, the beads, everything is in there. You can always add it to your shopping cart. You can also see the price and all of that good stuff too. And we're gonna do a giveaway. So that'll be fun as well. We're going to give away the mix, the check glass mix that I'm going to be working with on Wednesday. So it's a beautiful, beautiful mix. So let's go ahead and flip the camera down. Twix is here and she's going crazy. So we might have a crazy cat on our table today. We shall see. She's got the zoomies. Hello, Teresa. Okay, so here is my table. And I have a lot of tools, even more tools than I normally have. So I want to show that, but let me first show the giveaway. So we are going to give away this really beautiful purple check glass bead mix. This is one I'm going to be working with on Wednesday. So here are all these beautiful beads. Hello, Teresa in LA. We had a beautiful Halloween, perfect weather for it here in Los Angeles. I think it was 81 yesterday. So it was a nice kind of warm night, but not too hot, not too cool. So here are these daggers. So all of this is part of this one beautiful, beautiful bead mix. It kind of keeps coming here. There's even these bellflowers. So this is what I'm going to be working with on Wednesday, but we're going to give this away at the end of the show today. So stay tuned for that. And what we'll do is we'll do a trivia question, and you have to be here on Art Beads to be eligible to win, because it will be the first correct answer in the comments here on Art Beads. Oh, hello, Linda H. and Francie and Maria. Yeah, these are really beautiful. I still haven't really decided what I want to do with them yet. So if anyone has any suggestions of what we should do with them on Wednesday, feel free to put them into the comments. Like if you want to see really statement earrings with those daggers, or if you want to see a necklace with those daggers, definitely share any ideas you have, because I haven't come up with an idea yet. Oh, hello, Carolyn. Rain and Oregon kids got wet. Oh my gosh, I remember that from growing up in Washington. Always. I felt like we always had a rainy Halloween. All right, so I'm going to I know a lot of us are experienced beaders, so I'm going to go a little bit faster through some of the basics I think a lot of us know, but if anyone needs me to slow down, just let me know. Oh, Ruby's saying, I got a bunch of organizers and was wondering how everyone organizes their beads. I do mine by type. So I have all my seed beads in one bin. I have all my findings in another bin. I have all my check glass beads in another bin. And I just separated out all my 2-hole beads into another bin. Oh, Connie, I like that idea. And Ilka as well, a necklace with the daggers. And then Connie saying a necklace and earrings, a new set for Wednesday. Oh, I like that, like an earring and necklace set. That's a good idea. Okay. All right, so your core tools, if you are starting out with jewelry making, there's basically 4 tools that are essential. And those are a round nose plier, 2 pairs of chain nose, because you'll need them to open and close jump rings, and a pair of cutters. Now, you know me, I don't use a round nose plier, but basically, unless I'm turning the end of really heavy gauge wire, I substitute the round nose for the wire looping. So this is basically, these 2 tools do the same thing. I just find this one easier to work with and my loops are cleaner. But most jewelry makers are going to say these are your 4 essential tools that you need for all your jewelry making. Now, I figure if you are going to have 2 pairs of chain nose pliers, you might as well have 2 different ones. So I have a heavy duty one, which is my Wubbers, and I have a really fine one. And when you hold the noses up together, you can see that there is a difference. And then I don't think I've ever shown this in a live before. I wanted to show another option that a lot of jewelry makers love, and that is your bent nose plier. And here is a Xuron bent nose. So this is basically this tool here with a bent nose. So I would love, if you guys like using bent nose, if you could share in the comments with the others as to what you like about them. I know that some people find them easier to open and close jump rings and to get into little corners. I don't use them a lot myself, but I know that they are very, very popular with a lot of jewelry makers. So I did want to show them just because I've never shown them as an option before. So I thought since we were doing this show as kind of like a little bit beyond the basics, I thought it would be good to show them. I love your comment, Christy. I don't know how I ever lived without those Xuron super fine. Yes, I know. So this is what's really nice. They do have a really nice fine point. And even these ones do too. Even the bent nose have a really nice fine tip to get into the tight corners. Okay, and Michelle is saying she uses the bent nose for opening jump rings. Okay, open and close jump rings and wire wrapping. Yeah, see, this is what I love about it. When we do these lives, we can definitely share our feedback and our experience with the different tools and the different components as well, which is so nice. So that is another option. If you are wanting to have another type of plier, a bent nose is definitely an option. Connie saying, I like bent nose for wire wrapping. So I'm thinking, because I need to experiment more with them, and this is great. We're always learning from each other. So I am thinking, do you guys grab the tip of the wire a lot with the bent nose? Because it does seem like it almost gives you more flexibility to have that bent nose. And Debbie saying bent nose are great for tight spots. Okay, I'm going to have to start playing with these because I have had them in my toolbox for a while and I haven't fully gotten into them, but I am such a huge fan of these that I know I'm going to love them. So I need to start to work with them. So that was great. A couple other tools, if you are wanting to make most projects, you'll need a pair of crimping pliers. There's a bunch of different ones out there. I always recommend just the standard. This just crimps 2mm and 3mm crimp tubes. This is a great basic one. So you'll sometimes can be a little overwhelming as to which one to choose. I like just your standard one. It's not doing like mighty crimps. It's not doing magic crimps. It's just your standard crimping plier. For a cutter, I really like this cutter right here. This is my favorite. And it's my favorite because of that tight tip again. So just as we were talking with the Xurons, having a really nice narrow tip is so great. So I like these cutters because sometimes cutters can be pretty heavy. They can have a pretty large expanse right here. And I find that really hard to get into tight corners. So I like how fine the tip is, but I also like how narrow this is right here. Okay. Oh, and Michelle's got her puppy dog in the background wanting to play. Oh my goodness. Michelle, I didn't know you had a puppy. You got to tell us about your puppy now. So now you got to tell us what type of puppy and how old. And Linda's saying she loves these cutters too. Yeah, these are great cutters. They're not the most expensive ones in the world either, which is really nice. I mean, some cutters could be $100. These are not. But I find they work great. I've used them for years, the same exact pair. So I really like this pair of cutters. And then the only other tool I find you really need here and there are the memory wire cutters. This is just because you can't cut or you shouldn't cut memory wire with regular cutters. It will kind of ding and mark them. So you're going to need a heavier memory wire cutter. So those are really the core tools. I don't think I hardly ever use any other tool than what you see here. So this is kind of like your nice basic tool assortment. Some of these are duplicates, of course, like there's that bent nose and that chain nose. So you're not going to need all of these. Yeah, I love Xuron tools as well. I think that there's, you know what I like about them, and I can just share this here. I like their grips, but I like how lightweight they are. They're physically really lightweight in your hands. So if you are doing a lot of jewelry making, you don't get hand fatigue. So I find that, and they're really easy to squeeze. So I think that that's a big advantage to them, especially like, I know my hands are getting more tired and my body is getting more tired. I have more aches and pains, and just it's really nice to not have to fight to squeeze them, to crimp them, to do whatever. So I really love these. Okay, so those are your core tools. I want to talk really quickly about some gauges and sizes, and then we're going to start doing some techniques. So if you are picking out things like head pins, I've got two head pins here. I have a 24 gauge and a 21. So the larger the number, the thinner the wire. So these 24 gauge ones are great for if you're doing some wrapping with them. They're very soft. If you look at them, you can bend them so easily. So I would use this, like I'm going to cut open this strand right now. So why would I choose a 24 gauge over a 21 gauge? And Michelle has two puppies. One is a lab mix who is golden colored. He's a big puppy, almost a senior. The other is a girl who is a shepherd mix and almost golden color. I love that. All right, so this is very soft. This is 24 gauge. So if I was gonna do 24 gauge, we'll do a little demo on how to make a wrapped wire loop. So if you're gonna do a wrapped wire loop with the wire looping pliers, you just grab it where it exits, but you leave a little bit of air. And you squeeze, you bend it over. Hello, Denise. And then you rotate it up and you twist. And then you've got a nice little loop. I always go in with my chain nose and you can wrap it, and it's very soft and easy to wrap. Okay, so this is a basic wrapped wire loop. Now, what you're gonna wanna do is when you trim your tail, you wanna tuck your end. So that's, when we say tuck our end, we are taking that little rough piece of wire right there and we are squeezing it into our wrappings. So it tucks right in and disappears, and then it doesn't snag on your clothing, it doesn't scratch your neck, anything like that. So that is your wrapped wire loop. Now, I would not do a simple wire loop, which I'm going to show you in just a minute, with the 24 gauge wire, and I'm going to show you why. So here we're going to do now a simple wire loop. So I'm going to have a little less air, so it's a little tighter to my bead. Same mechanism, squeeze, push down. You know what? I grabbed the wrong head pin. That's not going to show what I want it to show. Okay, we're going to get a 24 gauge one again, and you can feel it. You can feel the thinness of the 24 gauge. Okay, because that was like, that is not feeling right. Okay, so then same thing, we squeeze, it does half that work for us, push it down, rotate up, and crisscross. Now this is a simple wire loop, which means we're going to cut it where it crisscrosses. But I would not do that with 24 gauge wire, and I'm going to show you why. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do one with the 21 gauge wire. So here is a simple wire loop, but it's really soft. Look at that. It really can bend out of shape easily. So I don't like to do simple wire loops with 24 gauge wire. But let's go ahead and take our 21 gauge wire. And look at how much thicker this is. And it's much stronger. It bends, but it doesn't bend like the 21 or the 24 gauge. So we're going to now go ahead and do a simple wire loop with a 21 gauge wire. And you can even see it here in the tool how much heavier it is. And you have to squeeze harder. It's harder to push down. It's just a stiffer wire. And when you crisscross, now we're going to make that same simple loop, but we can still move it because we can still open and close it, but it's much stiffer. And so it's going to hold its shape in your jewelry design. You know, that's a great question, Connie. I like artistic wire. I've worked a little bit with German wire, and it's stiffer from my experience, which can be good and bad. It can be good in that it does make you feel like it's really secure, but I have always just really loved artistic wire. I find it really easy to work with. I've got my kind of my core gauges here, 22, 24, and a 26. So this gives you a nice assortment. The 22, of course, is the heavier wire going up to the 24, which I use for 90% of my projects. And then the 26 is really thin. So I think it's a personal preference. I know some designers love German wire. I have worked with it. I just do find it a little stiffer and harder to work with than the artistic wire. So that's my preference. Oh, hello, Mary. Okay, so that's simple wire loops and wrapped wire loops. So we talked about that really quickly as kind of a note about not only how to make them. So this, of course, the difference here is a wrapped wire loop you cannot open. Once it's shut, you have to use a jump ring or another piece of wire wrapping or something to connect it. The simple wire loop, you can open and close as many times as you want, but you don't want to overstress your metal, of course, but you can open and close it to connect it. So that gives you a little bit more flexibility, but this gives you more of a wrapped design, and you can use the thinner gauge wires. All right, I want to show a quick size comparison because I was confused trying to figure this out on the website, so I thought it might be helpful for everybody. These are Beaded lobster clasps, really nice quality. This is the size of a small one. This is the size of a medium one. So I wanted to show that because I just ordered these and I was trying to figure out which size I wanted. And I thought other people might like to see that as well. So, oh, hello, Bobby. So this is a Beaded size small. This is a Beaded size medium. Oh, that's a great comment. So Gina's saying another tool I would add to this basic collection is a nylon jaw plier. That's a really good comment as well. Maybe Michelle can add a nice one to the shopping bag so everyone can see what that would look like. So which is best for a necklace versus a bracelet? You know, I think it really is personal preference. So if you see on my wrist here, this is what the size the medium would look like. This is the size that a small would look like. I think it has more to do with the scale of your beads. Let's say all your beads are this size here. These are 6 millimeters. Let's say you're doing a 6 millimeter with these beads right here. I would probably go with the small, just for the scale of the clasp to match the scale of the beads. Now, let's say you are swapping it in. Now, suddenly you're bringing in this beautiful big strand here, and you've got this gorgeous collection going. Well, suddenly this one looks a lot better than the little one. The little one just looks too tiny by comparison. So I think more for me, at least, I don't think of it in terms of, is it a necklace or a bracelet? I think of what size beads I'm using. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Yes, the small one will work for a beaded clasp, and that's what I want to show next. Let's go ahead and talk about that next, because I've gotten a couple questions about that, and I thought this would be a really good show to show that technique. So I have some beading wire. Now, I have 7 strand on hand. We've talked about this a lot. There's 7, 19, 49 strand. 7 strand is the most economical. I think it works fine. I use it a lot, but it does not drape quite as softly as your 19 or 49 strand. I've also had people say sometimes it can kink. So that's just a consideration. But definitely do what works for you, what works for your budget. 7 strand does work as well. And I think it works fine. And I use it, I use it plenty. So, you know, it becomes a personal preference of which one you want to use. I always use 0.015. I find that a really nice middle grade, medium weight. And then it shows right here that if you're using a crimp bead, it's size number 1. It's a little bit faded here, but it shows if you're using a crimp tube, it's size number 2. So I'm just going to cut a little sample bit right here. Okay, so I'm just going to use these cutters, and we're just going to kind of do a little fake swatch here. Okay, so another tool that is a good essential tool is a bead stopper. Here we go. Is a lobster clasp more secure than a toggle for a necklace? I would say yes, personally. I feel like a toggle could come undone, potentially. I feel like a lobster is not going to come undone. I mean, I've used plenty of toggles and I really like them. But I think if you're saying like which one at the end of the day is definitely more secure, I think a lobster, because it actually closes, it's got a full like closure here. Yes, there are, Linda. Thank you for saying that. Some great deals in the dollar sale. Yes, I know. As I was putting some of these supplies into the shopping bag, I was noticing they were on a really good sale too. I know. That's the hard thing. It's hard not to shop for myself as I'm doing this, especially for bargains, because I love bargains. Okay, so we just have a little sample length here, right? So I'm going to show you how to attach a clasp. Oh, explain needle sizes. Sure thing. I don't think I have, what do I have here? Let me see if I have any needles. Okay, I do have some needles. I have a size 11 long needle. And so we'll just use this as our example. All right, so this is a size 11 long. So the larger the needle size, the thinner the needle. So a 13 beading needle is going to be thinner with a smaller eye than this 11 one. So if you want a bigger needle that's with an easier eye to see, you're going to go to like a 10. So you're going to go to a smaller number. So I believe with the crimps, so let's pull up a crimp tube right here. I have a 2 millimeter crimp tube. I believe, and maybe Michelle can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's the length. So this is a crimp tube that is a 2 millimeter by 2 millimeter, and it's a size 2. So I believe so, but maybe Michelle can help verify that if I am incorrect. I believe though, the larger the number, the larger the crimp. It's so confusing. Like with wire, the larger the number, the thinner the size. With needles, the larger the number, the thinner the size. But I think with crimp tubes, the larger the number, the bigger. Okay, Michelle's saying I'm right. Okay, good. Yes, I am also, Tracy, having a hard time seeing the eyes of the needles these days. So I am usually at like a 10 or 11. I used to be at a 12 or 13. So I have definitely gone smaller number, bigger needle, just for preference, because I don't want to struggle. I don't want to have to fight a needle to thread it anymore. And if it works just fine with my project, why not go for a bigger needle? All right, here is your bead stopper that keeps your beads from falling off. We're just gonna string a couple pretty little ones. Oh, and let me show you just real quick. I wanted to show you a quick size comparison of 11s, 8s, and 6s, because now I'm getting to be all about the 6s. Oh, a quick tip for taking off your tubes, your tube lids, grab them with a chain nose, and they pop off. So that is a quick tip right there, and that was shared by somebody here in the community about a year or two ago, and I love it, love it, love it. So that is a great tip, and we'll do that again with this one. We're gonna do a quick little size comparison. Oh, hello, Jackie. So we're doing fundamentals of jewelry making and a little beyond. So we're doing some basics, but we're also going a little bit above and beyond the basics as well. Okay, so I have an eye pin here. If you're not familiar with what an eye pin is, basically it lets you work as a connector. So here, we can open up that eye. You just twist it off to the side. We can then put on like our little wrapped wire loop that we made. And then you can close it. So you have a really easy way of connecting things. So that's the advantage of an eye pin. And then I'm gonna put on some seed beads real quick so we can see a size comparison since I had them here. And these are gonna be a 6, an 8, and an 11. We'll do 3 of each. All right, so here's our little size guide. These are size 6.0 seed beads, Toho rounds, size 8 and size 11. So the larger the number, the smaller the bead. So a size 15 would be even smaller. So that gives you a good indication. There's even size 3 seed beads, which look a lot like a pony bead. If you're familiar with like a pony bead from, I remember pony beads when I was doing crafts. It looks a lot like a pony bead, so it's quite large. But here's a 6, an 8, and an 11. And these are Toho rounds. I know these are my favorite sizes too. You know, it's so funny. I would say almost my entire jewelry making career, I've only used these 2 sizes. And now I'm falling in love with the 6s. I'm like, there's this great resource of these beautiful beads that I didn't even kind of look at. And I love now the 6s. So that's a good little size comparison. I know I don't do 15s very much anymore. I used to, guys. I used to do 15s with a size 13 needle. And I swear, I think my eyes have just decided they don't want to work with those anymore. Oh yes, Denise, you love the 6s. I love the 6s too. And like, look how pretty. You can really see the finishes on the 6s, which is nice. Like this pretty like speckled one. Like they're just a beautiful, beautiful bead. So the 6s are really nice. Okay, before we go on to stringing, I did realize I didn't even cover opening and closing a jump ring. And I think these are closed jump rings. Did I actually only pull closed jump rings for the... Okay, well, I think I only pulled closed jump rings. Let me see if I have. All right, I don't think I have another jump ring around here. So we're going to, so if this was not a closed jump ring, dun, 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 you would grab it from either side. And this is not going to work because it is closed unless my eyes deceive me. You would grab it from either side and you would twist, and that would open it. So you don't pull apart jump rings, you twist them open. So you twist and then you twist them back in place. Hello, LJ. Yeah, I really thought I pulled open. So the way I can tell is I run my finger along the edge. A closed jump ring is not going to have a seam that is open. Like I can feel a little notch here of where it was soldered shut, but it's not an opening. I can't believe I don't have an open jump ring on this whole table. Let's see, maybe I do here. I have a little bag of goodies. Let's just see if there's anything in here. Yes, okay, I knew we had to have a jump ring. All right, here is your jump ring. If you are opening and closing it, because this is one of the basic fundamentals, you grab it on either side and you twist, and then you twist it shut. What you don't do, and I'm going to show it anyways, you don't pull it apart. You don't like pull it open and try to shut it. Let me get a new clean one and we'll do the correct way, because you want to keep its shape. So you just have it with 2 pliers, pull this, like twist apart, twist back, and just make sure you line it back up, which is something that I struggle with to this day. So I tend to make wrapped wire loops whenever I'm jewelry making and skip the whole jump ring for me, just because I always find I have a hard time fully closing my jump rings. I think that's just particular to me, because I know a lot of people do great with jump rings. Okay, so let's go to stringing. So, and we'll show that beaded loop, and we're going to also show thread and wire protectors as well. So we're going to show a couple different things. So I'm just going to put some beads on here really quick, just to give us like a little strand to hold on to show. You don't need a needle if you're working with beading wire, so that's nice. It's just the wire is the needle itself. Okay, so we're going to show 2 different ways of having a closure. All right, so I just got some beads. They stop on the bead stopper. Let's show a thread and wire protector first. Okay, so I have got a crimp tube going on here, and actually I'm going to show this as a demo on both sides. So I'm going to move this up a little to give myself some more length. Okay, so we've got that. Now, if you want to use a thread and wire protector, that's what this little gizmo is. So on this one here, it has 2 channels, and we're going to go up through one, just like so, and then going to go down through the other one. Now, you can now attach, so if we, let me move my hand, see how it's making a loop? And it is now through both channels with the wire on and sitting into like a little recess right here. And now what you can do is you can put on your clasp. Let's go ahead and put on the lobster, because we asked if the small bead-along size would work with the beaded loop idea. So before you do your crimp tube, you're going to slide this on, and you're going to slide this over here. So you see how now the metal of your clasp is rubbing on the underside metal of your thread and wire protector. And that's what these are kind of meant to do. They're meant to kind of protect your beading wire from wear. And then what I tend to do is I pinch them shut a little bit. I kind of just pinch them so I bring their ends together a little bit so they're more like a loop. And then what you can do is you'll go back through your crimp tube at this point. And slide it up. So this is your setup here. So you've got that. And now let's just do your how to crimp a crimp tube real quick. And then on the other side, we're going to show the beaded clasp part of this. So we're going to take your crimping pliers with the 2 notches, and you're going to work with the back notch first, and we're going to separate out our strands. This is how I do it. Now again, jewelry making is wonderful because so many people do it in different ways, and all of those ways I always say are totally valid. This is how I have found that I like to do it. So I've got it in that back notch, and I'm gonna squeeze it. Give it a good squeeze, and when I come out, we should kind of see those nice pronounced channels. So you see there's 2 channels here of the crimp tube, and now we're going to turn it on its side, and we're going to go into the front notch, and we're going to fold it over onto itself basically. So there is your crimped tube with a wire guard. Okay, when using a wire guard and lobster clasp, is it best to use a jump ring on the wire guard or use a jump ring also? Oh, I think you could definitely put the jump ring onto the wire guard right here. Like we could have just slid our little closed jump ring and that'd be the other half of your clasp. Okay, so then what I tend to do is I thread it through 1 bead over here, and then I finish the other half of my bracelet or necklace or whatever the sample piece is, and then I trim it. I do want to show crimp bead covers. We'll see if these play nicely for me. This is a crimp bead cover. Again, this is a little bit beyond the basics in terms of these are finishing techniques. They're optional. Some people love them, some people hate them. I tend to not use them very much, I will admit that. But if you like them, I do want to show how to use them, or if you've been curious about them. So I like to grab them so they look like a little Pac-Man in my pliers. I don't use crimp beads with fire line or thread. I think the metal can actually cut the thread. That's a great question. But you can use thread and wire protectors with fire line. I've seen that done, especially if you're going to maybe be using with like a magnetic clasp, you might get a bit of wear and tear. I've seen that done, and that's really kind of elegant. So then what you do is you go over your crimp tube and you give it a pinch. And then you kind of will try to, if you've got any seams showing, you keep working with your pliers, kind of trying to tidy it up. And then what you have instead of a crimp tube is you basically have a nice metallic bead, whether it's gold or silver. So Fireline and Wildfire, I believe they come in black, white, I want to say gray for Wildfire, and I think I've seen red. So, oh, have you ever used crimp beads with Eslon? Oh, I never would have thought that. Oh, that's cool. Okay, see, I love this. We keep sharing ideas. All right, so that is a thread and wire protector, a crimp tube under there, and a crimp bead cover. So that gives you a really kind of polished, finished look. And so that's very nice and professional, especially if you're maybe making and selling jewelry. These are all nice added touches. Okay, so now I want to go back to the question of, does the beaded loop clasp idea work with the small bead-along lobster? Let's talk about that. So we're going to make that right here because we're going to do the other side. So let me just make a few more beads here just so it's a little easier for me to hang on to. Just adding a few more. Okay, so we're pretending this is a pretty little bracelet. I'm going to do another crimp tube on this side. And now what you could do, oh, green too. Oh, that's good. Yeah, you know, I don't use the colors as much, but I am starting to use the gray. I found the gray is really nice of the wildfire. Okay, so now what we could do is we could do a thread and wire protector again right here and add a closed jump ring. So that's probably why I had the closed jump rings. So you could add a closed jump ring, and then that is going to be the other half of your clasp, and your lobster is going to link to the jump ring, and that's going to be how you secure your bracelet. But what I've been doing lately, and I really like it, is I'm just doing these little beaded loops. So I'm going to take some 11-0 seed beads, and actually my tip is a little bent there. I don't have the cleanest cut, so I'm just going to cut it right here. And we are going to just put on, let me start with maybe 9. Let me see what 9 looks like. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I've got 9 seed beads on there. I might need a few more. I'm going to loop them around and make them the other part of my clasp. And I think it'll be just fine with that small bead along clasp, but we're going to test it. Okay, let's do 11. So 11 on there. And now we're going to go back down through our crimp tube, just the crimp tube, no other beads. And we're going to form a nice little loop. So now let's see if this will work. Oh my goodness, this is a tiny little, this is a little doll bracelet right here. Okay, and okay, so what I want to do is I want to make sure that I wasn't just going over the wire itself. I want to make sure that this clasp will close with the size of these seed beads. Yep, it works. So it does work with size 11s. I wouldn't go any bigger for your seed bead, but that's how you make a little, yes, it is a Twix bracelet. So that's how you make a little beaded clasp, and then you would just crimp it. So you're not using a thread and wire protector on this side. You're just using your crimp bead and, or I should say your crimp tube. And then you're just going to make sure when you crimp it that you're not on any of your glass beads, because I have definitely done that before and cracked a bead. But you do the same thing. I am separating out the strands. You can kind of see I've got this one here. And then we've got the 2 channels. And then we fold it over on the inside. There you go. And then you could put that crimp tube cover on there as well. Could you use a wire protector on the other side? Over here, yes, for sure. So you can definitely use a wire protector on one side and then have this over here for your loop. So you can definitely do this. I like this finishing technique. I think it's a nice way of just making it more beady. But you could also just use another thread and wire protector and a closed jump ring. So that's how you use these little lobsters. But I'm really glad, I know this is silly, it's the small things in life. I'm really happy to see the size comparison of the small and medium bead along clasps, because I feel like I've struggled with that for a little while, trying to envision their sizes. So that's good. And then this one, you could do the same thing, of course, you could do the toggle. All right, I wanna show how to add chain to your design. So let's say I've got some chain here. This is a good standard chain. And so if you're closing with thread, just tie it onto the lobster. Yes, so let's say you have a bead woven project and you are using a lobster, wherever. So you've got a lobster. You can take your wildfire thread and just go through the loop, go through some beads, do some knots. I always say go through a couple times. I rarely attach with just one pass through to a clasp for bead weaving. So you'll go through some of your beads, you'll go back, go through it again. If you feel like it's going to get a lot of wear, you could go through it a 3rd time. So that, yeah, you would just go right through it though. All right, and then here is chain. This is a 2mm Rolo chain. So this is a really nice kind of standard, works great for necklaces, earrings, whatever it may be. There's a couple different ways of attaching it to your designs. One is with a wrapped wire loop. So I'm going to take some 24 gauge wire. And this is like if you have like a pretty necklace that you're making your own handmade beaded chain with. So let's say we're going to go here. We're going to go about 1 inch down, make a loop, crisscross. But before we do our wrappings, we're going to notch that open just a little bit. And we're going to find our end link of chain, slide it into your loop, close up your loop wherever my pliers went. Okay, Bobby, that's a great, I'd like to see ending fire line. So I don't have fire line right here, but I can add that to another show. We could always even do a show on finishing techniques for bead woven jewelry if we wanted to. So I'm just making some loops or some wraps right here. And you can see that now we have a way of attaching beads or other components to the chain, because now the chain is anchored essentially to eye pin, even though this is not eye pin, but it's essentially anchored to a pin that we can now bead. So we can add a beautiful bead here. I'm dying to cut these open. I'm going to cut one of these guys open. I'm going to cut this big, beautiful bead open. Okay, so let's say this is a really nice statement-y necklace. You have this big, beautiful bead on here. And then what I'm going to do is find the correct pliers. And then here you can make another wrapped wire loop. You can connect it to more pieces of jewelry. Yes, absolutely, Michelle. Scrap wire equals instant eye pin. Definitely keep all your scraps. There's always a use for them. Even like we were talking about this the other day, like scrap beading wire. Keep that too. You can make earrings out of it. You can make dangles out of it. Yeah, I have a scrap bin. Just like I have like a bead soup bin, I keep a scrap bin as well. And then we're just going to tuck that wire again. And so now you have a way of connecting your chain to your rest of your design. Now I want to show you a second way of connecting chain to a design, and that is using beading wire. Let's see if I have enough right here. I'm just going to cut this off. Okay, so you can do very simply. So we're going to pretend that this was our beautiful beaded necklace. Oh, scrap mason jars, Gina, I have the same thing. That's what I keep mine in. I love the mason jars for that because they're clear and you can see through them. All right, so we're pretending this is like a beaded section, right? So here, let's just put our stopper on here. And we'll just put a couple beads real quick. All right, so this was our beautiful beaded necklace, but we wanted to attach chain to it. And so what we can do is we can take that crimp tube and we'll put it on here. And we can then take our beading wire. We can add some seed beads for decoration if we wanted to, or we can just go straight and we'll take our beading wire and we'll go through the end chain link of our chain. And then we'll go back down through our crimp tube. Okay, and so you see what you've got here. This is your connection point. So you could, if you wanted to, add some pretty little beads right there. There's nothing saying that it has to just be the plain wire. You can definitely add some seed beads or whatever beads you like. And then you would just crimp it as normal. Oh, good, Kate, good, I'm glad. This was one of the things I definitely wanted to focus on when we were talking a little bit beyond the basics of like, how do you add chain to your design? So now you've got that crimp tube, which actually, you know what, from a distance, you really don't see it. It almost just looks like more part of the chain. And then here we're pretending that, of course, we've got this beautiful beaded segment coming off of it here. I would do the same thing I normally do where I go through one bead just to kind of hide that tail. And then I would trim it. So that's how you can add chain. So that's two different methods for adding chain to your designs. Oh, Tracy, that's great. Yeah, you can definitely. So I think it's very elegant just like this, but you can absolutely dress up this area. There's also nothing saying that you can't put that crimp tube down here, that you can do beads, 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 do a loop, come down, and put that crimp tube down here. Can you show how to make a chain extension to a lobster? Ooh, I don't have the supplies right here, but yes, let's add that to another class. It's pretty easy to do. You could do it with chain or jump rings. Actually, you know what? I might be able to do it. Okay. So if you want to add a chain extension to a lobster, yay, I think we can do this, guys. All right, so you're going to take some jump rings or a little bit larger chain. So here is a jump ring. We're going to open it up. I'm going to play with the bent nose. I haven't been playing with the bent nose enough. All right. Okay, we're going to open it up. And then we're going to link it together. Now you could also use finished chain. There's lots of chain you can just buy a foot of. And you can do that instead of jump rings. I've done it with jump rings just fine though in the past too. Okay, we're gonna make a little, so we're making our own chain. This is cool. I'm glad you suggested this. This is fun. So we're making a chain extension to a lobster. And this would be if you want to have an adjustable necklace, like adjustable length. Okay. Okay, so see how we're just building it? We're just linking those together and we're building it out. You can make it as long or as short as you want. Just make sure that if you are doing this, that your jump ring or chain is a big enough ring to go with your lobster. So let's have this be it here. So we've got this. This is probably about an inch. And then where was our sample piece? Okay. So let's pretend, it would probably work better if this was just a jump ring. So let's pretend that was just a jump ring. You would put it and connect it to whatever your existing necklace has. So on this side, you would close it. I would probably, knowing me, let me just trim my wire ends so they're not bugging me here. I would put a little dangle on the end, give you something to hold on to. So it would be like this, and then I would just make a little dangle. Let's see, we've got this little dangle with that simple wire loop, so we can open and shut it very easily. So let's just open that up, put it on the end one. So it's like a nice little decoration. Oh, so it looks really pretty when your hair is up and this is hanging down your neck. And now what the lobster can do is it can connect to the original ring. It can connect to any of these rings here, including the end one. And that way you're able to make a pretty simple little extension for your lobster clasp. That was a great idea. So great suggestion on that one. That's a nice, easy way of doing that. And again, your scrap chain will work for this as long as your loops are big enough. Cut chain, jump rings, whatever you like will work for that. Oh, yeah, you can definitely do that, Tina. Can you use... sorry, the questions are coming up a little bit fast. Good, okay, a Labubu necklace, yes. Yeah, the rosary chain you can definitely use, and then you can use the extra pieces for a necklace for sure. Would larger jump rings work better? It's a preference. So kind of as we were talking about ease of use. Like I go now for the little bit larger needles because they're just easier for me to use. Larger jump rings, like these are a 6 millimeter, are going to be easier to fiddle with behind your back when you've got this and you're trying to put it on yourself, on your neck, it's going to be easier to link a 6mm jump ring than a 4. So I do think that there is something to be said for a little bit larger ring sizes when you are connecting them to like a lobster clasp. But again, that's personal preference. I've seen lots of absolutely gorgeous jewelry designs with small petite jump rings, and they're beautiful. I just know for me, I just am getting to the point where I don't want to be frustrated. So if I don't have to be frustrated, I'm choosing not to be. So I will go now with my larger needle, a little bit larger jump rings, because I think they look great too, and they're easier to use. So hopefully that helped. Okay, I did have in mind showing today how to finish memory wire. I know we're running a little bit late on our Saturday morning cartoons, and we still have the giveaway to do. So I'm gonna let you guys tell me if you want to see the memory wire, or we can save that for another show. Yeah, 10mm jump rings would be fine. 8mm would be fine. Absolutely. Do what feels good to you, and I think with scale wise, probably it'll be fine too. So just look at the size of your beads. So look at the size of your beads. That usually dictates your findings. Okay, yes, on memory wire. Okay, so I have 2 ways of finishing memory wire today, because again, I was trying to think like a little bit beyond the basics. So we'll show the one that I think we all do and are familiar with. So memory wire is great. Memory wire holds its shape. It's really like nice and forgiving. It's super fun. Like you just add beads. I think it's a very joyful jewelry making technique. I would recommend, I'm not going to say you have to, but I do recommend memory wire cutters, because it's a very stiff stainless steel wire, and it has to be that way to retain its shape. So if I was to take these little cutters that I love and I was to cut it, I would end up with a little hole in my cutters. I don't know any way of fixing that. Once you got a hole in your cutters, you're kind of stuck. There's, I don't know if this is going to ring with anyone's memory, but there's Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, I think is the show I watch every year. It's an old like Jim Henson Christmas special, and he puts a hole in his mom's washboard. And I kind of always think of it like that. Like once you get a hole in here, it's tough. So memory wire cutters. And so the way to cut memory wire is you just put it in the cutters and you hear that big snap, and it cuts really easily. So the way we normally finish it is you can use a round nose or a chain nose. I think most people like round noses. I like chain noses because I can grip it better. And so I grip it here. Can you go over size and kinds of magnetic clasps in another show? Definitely. I will show you real quick. This is my favorite magnetic clasp. I think it's there in the shopping bag. It's really inexpensive. It's really strong. It comes in all the different metal finishes. I love this one. This is my go-to magnetic clasp. But I can definitely go over more in a different show for sure. Okay. Oh, good, Regina. Yes, I watch that show every year. That is the one Christmas show I have to watch every single year. I love Emmett Otter. And it's kind of fun. My husband has had the privilege of, he works with Jim Henson's Creature Shop. He helps to design puppets. He makes the characters, and then the puppeteers make the puppets, but he draws what they're going to look like. So we have a strong affinity for Jim Henson and puppets. Okay, so we grab the tip and we turn it. Now, I like to turn it up and away from the inside. Now, you can do the round nose pliers too, if you like. So you keep turning it until you have a little loop. Now, it's fun to go, I'm reading it at the time. It is a cool job. My husband has a cool job. He does lots of different things. That's been one of the nice things he's been able to do in his career. So you have the inside of the bracelet here that's going to be against your wrist. I'll show this real quick. So tangling this thing up. Okay, so by having the loop go up and away is not downward poking you, because it would get really ouchy after a while. if you were to have it twisted down. So I do recommend, if you can, twist that little loop up and away from your wrist. Okay, that's one way. Now, you can bend it down. So Oma, let me just show you real quick. I'll bend it down since we have this nice sample piece right here. Okay, so that's the bent up. You can bend it down. It would be the exact same technique. And you would just grab it and bend it towards the center. Okay, so there's our loop going down. So if we look at it right here, we got the loop coming in. So if I was to then put this on my wrist again, what you're gonna see is it's gonna push into my skin. So pokey and ouchy beading terminology, yes. So it will press into your skin. Now you might have beads right here that are helping to cushion it. Can you turn the loop to make it flat against the bracelet first loop? I think I know what you're saying. Let me see. Oh, like turn it to the side? I think you could. Okay. So here you go. I'm going to cut this one off. This is why it's so nice to just have the sample wire here. Okay. Make it against the first loop. So we're thinking going to the side, I think. I would turn it to the side and put a dangle on. So let's try to put it to its side, because that's another interesting idea. I like that, Tracy. So let's see what would happen if we turn it. And this is stiff wire. Definitely, I like having my wubbers for this because this is pretty stiff wire. So now it is, I just want to straighten it up just a little. Okay, so, oh, that's a good idea. So Tracy was saying, could you bend it off like so it's against the first loop? I would turn it to the side and put a dangle on it. So that's nice because it's not going to hit you here. Just going to watch that little end right there, probably tidy it up a little bit. But that's a really nice idea. Tracy, great idea. So then you can go ahead, and Teresa too. Teresa saying I would turn it to the side and put a dangle on it. Okay, so that is a very nice idea. I love that. So now it's not poking up or down, it's off to the side. All right, there is another way of finishing memory wire, and that is these little doohickeys right here. These are memory wire ends, and I want to show how to use them real quick, and then we're going to do our giveaway. Okay. Gotcha, Janny. Okay, I'm going to share a tip with everyone on how to do these because it is, it's not the easiest. I'm going to just say it. It's not the easiest. Now you can also use finial beads. Finial beads are check glass beads that come in a ton of colors, and they are great for memory wire ends as well, especially if you want to match your colors. Like you can even get the same check glass beads in round or fire polish as the finial beads. So I'm moving this aside because I want to show you how we're going to do this. So when I'm using memory wire ends, I bring in Play-Doh. So I know this is weird looking to begin with. So I just grab some Play-Doh. If you don't have Play-Doh in your house, it's really inexpensive. It's like 59 cents for a small tub. You can get it most places like Target and things like that. So I just have a little clump of Play-Doh. I'm gonna grab this to protect my work surface. Okay, so I put basically a little mound of it onto something. I love it, Sandra. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we are gonna take I think this will work with an eye pin. We're gonna take our little end, and it's half drilled, so there's a little hole. And what we want is that hole to be upright. Let me see. Where is it? Okay. Yeah, okay, so see, this is essentially what it's gonna do to the memory wire, but we're gonna have glue involved in everything. So we're gonna take it and we're gonna put it into our little mound, sitting upright. So you see, now the little hole is waiting for us. Then you're gonna take your glue. You can use E6000 or GS Hypo Cement. Those are the two that I've used with it. So you're gonna take your GS Hypo Cement or your E6000. You're gonna find your non-turned over end. So we got this little end right here. we're gonna put a little bit of glue down. And we're gonna stick, I'll show you right here. We're going to stick the end of our wire. Oh, do you file the wire first? You know what, I haven't filed the wire first. I've been pretty successful with it without filing, but I do put a pretty darn generous amount of glue on here. And I let it dry overnight. So it's not a quick process. And then actually that might be a little too much glue. It should be okay. And put it down into it. And what you can even do, my mound might have been too big. You can kind of push it in and pull it off to the side. And it does have a little bit of stringy glue right here. I'm just gonna trim that up. I'm not gonna touch this for 24 hours. And then I'm just gonna wipe away my Play-Doh. Oh, hello, Stacy. So you can even kind of push it with your finger a little bit more if you want. That Play-Doh, as long as the Play-Doh is not touching the glue, it's just gonna come off clean. It's just gonna wipe away. So don't be tempted to try to clean it up right now. It's going to be fine. What's most important is that that end of that memory wire is fully into that end cap and that you're just gonna let it dry for 24 hours. Definitely let it dry the full amount. And then like here, you can see I even kind of propped it up a little bit here. You can do that. What it will look like at the end of the day, we'll just pretend that this is memory wire since that's my coil that's now wet. At the end of the day, it's just gonna look like a little ball on the end of your memory wire. So it's just a different way of finishing memory wire as opposed to turning the loop. And like I said, finial beads will work as well. Any other questions before we do our giveaway? I know we're running a little bit long on our Saturday morning cartoons here today, but hopefully everyone learned something or got a new idea. I love the turning the memory wire to the side. That's my favorite takeaway. I love that idea. Okay, so let's do our giveaway. Quick reminder, if you are on Facebook or YouTube, you have to be here on Art Beads. And Michelle, did you see my message this morning with the question? I came up with a trivia question. So I'm just gonna see if Michelle saw it. Real quick, we were running a little bit late. Oh, yay, okay, so Michelle knows the answer. Oh, coordinating on the day after Halloween. This beautiful, beautiful mix is lovely. Oh, thank you, Connie, thank you guys. So this is all check glass, is beautiful. There's bellflowers, there's daggers. We're gonna design with this on Wednesday, and I really liked, I think Connie, it was your idea of a necklace and an earring set. So I think we're gonna do that. I think we'll do a design together where I don't cut these strands until we're together, but we'll see. We'll see if I have enough to do a sample up ahead of time. But this is a beautiful check glass mix, and we're gonna give it away here in just a minute. I'm gonna let all those people from YouTube and Facebook pop on over here, because the way you're going to enter to win this really beautiful mix is I'm gonna ask a trivia question. First, correct answer put into the comments here on Art Beads will win. Michelle is going to be looking for it. Okay, so here's the question. In honor of it being fall and harvest time, we have a fall harvesty question. Is a pumpkin a fruit or vegetable? Is a pumpkin a fruit or vegetable? Oh, I'm so glad you guys learned a lot. Okay, is a pumpkin a fruit or vegetable? Oh my gosh, so many answers. And then Michelle's gonna see who had the correct one first. Yeah, you never know if our questions are gonna be beading related, jewelry making related, seasonal. Yeah, such a pretty mix too. I love these ones. All right, I'm waiting for Michelle to tell me who the winner was, who got it first. These are petals. These are cool. Congratulations to Sandra. So it is a fruit. A pumpkin is a fruit. Congratulations, Sandra. You were the first correct answer. So if you send out an email to Michelle at service@artbeads.com, you will connect with her and she'll send this out. Yay! And Michelle also gave us a good reminder that our Halloween dollar days is still going on. I know a lot of the items I had in my cart had some good sale prices, so that was really fun. I know, such fast typing. Congratulations, Sandra. Monica, yeah, I was seeing people were typing so fast. I think the moment I said pumpkin, people were maybe guessing what the question was. Oh, good. Thank you, Denise. Well, like I said, I hope everyone learned something, whether you're new to jewelry making and learned a lot, or if you're experienced and learned just something new. I mean, I learned about the memory wire turning the tip down. I love that, like off to the side. So that's great. Oh, good, Francie. I'm glad this was helpful. It's always so fun to do projects, but sometimes it's really nice to kind of go over the basics, but also learn some new basics and some new techniques. So that kind of helps to build up our foundation for when we do all those fun projects. All right, guys, I'm gonna turn the camera up. Looks like a lovely day here. Just that quick reminder, if anyone has anything in their shopping cart, remember to check out and take advantage of our sale right now, which is always fun. Here we go. I'm gonna flip the camera up. Okay. All right, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I will see everybody on Wednesday, and we'll be designing with that purple mix. All right, thank you guys. Oh, thank you, LJ. Thank you, Christy. Giggles, Kathy. Thank you, Jane. I hope, like I said, I hope everyone got something from it and learned some techniques. Always fun to kind of review those. All right. Oh, yes, you can see the necklace. It's okay, guys. I'm sorry, I've got the kids Saturday morning. Oh, I have a kid who's crashing the show. So I have cats who crash the show and kids, and he is dressed. He just has shorts on. All right, here's the necklace. So in another show, we made these beaded beads with the cushion. Ben, it's fine, honey. We made the beaded beads with the cushion stones, and this was actually a bracelet. And I saw it, I think we were talking because I had made a sample one, and then we connected the two together, and I'm like, that needs to be a necklace.
Mama, where's the kitty?
I don't know where Twix is, sweetheart. Just a minute. All right, so this is actually available for a replay as well, if anyone wants to see how to do these beaded beads that are between the cushion stones. But that was really fun to like restring the two bracelets into one necklace. All right, thank you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you, Gina. All right, whoop. Okay, bye. No.